Welcome back to the Muster Point, the podcast where we try to keep you on your toes with outrageous stories and serious advice, all in the same sentence. I'm Stu Mendelson, ex-raw engineer, ex-binocular user, now a very keen user of a monocle.
And I'm Steve Black, former 2nd Royal Tank Regiment, ex-tank loader, now a loader of brutal insults aimed at the RAF.
Today we've got all the usual stuff, brews, banter and some after sun for Steve's flaky sunburnt head.
I look like a lizard's back, but I'll be saving some of the flakiest bits for Chizzard's brews.
Today's episode, we're winging it. We've been so busy recently with all the VE celebrations, we're just going to see what happens.
This could be genius, but probably not. We'll just keep taking the piss out of the RAF and hope the listeners find it funny.
This is the Muster Point, where we share stories, banter and actually some useful stuff. Well done.
Hello, everyone.
We're back, Steve. You wrote that intro, didn't you?
I did.
How was it?
I really enjoyed it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Because you're going to be doing a lot more of it, aren't you?
Oh.
It was quite good. You still cocked it up, though, didn't you?
Did I?
Yeah.
What would I do?
A few times.
Oh, wow. Oh, me.
As in
I always cock it up.
No, to be fair, I liked it. I did like it.
Oh, good.
All right. As we said in the intro, we've been busy, haven't we?
We have. We've been very busy boys.
What have we been up to, Steve?
Um,
Well, what's the big remembrance, the national event that we've been celebrating for the last week?
Victory in Europe Day.
Yeah. And what date was that?
The 8th of May.
What year?
1945.
What time?
1 minute past midnight.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When the guns fell silent.
Yeah. We had start off. We had on Tuesday. Hang on, this episode's going to go out in over a week, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. So obviously we've had a little hiatus, haven't we? Yeah. Due to the VE Day celebrations, but also due to my
Spermy laptop.
spermy laptop. Yeah, yeah, it's proper fucked though. But
didn't they say they've never seen that sort of content before?
Yeah,
they've seen some fucked up stuff, but
pretty much they said like, put it this way, they're saying to me, well, it's better off that you just replace the laptop. Yeah, and bear in mind, I bought it for $2,500 3 years ago.
I said you should burn that laptop, so we're going to incinerate it.
Yeah. And maybe that won't deny it to the authorities. Yeah. So rest in peace, laptop.
Yeah. So we had our usual Tuesday meet. We always do.
Yeah.
Tea, coffee, butties.
Because people were saying that it was a bit light on Tuesday last week, and but when you look at the numbers, we're still averaging 23. Because some people like pop in and then pop out, but it's good. And I'm sure we'll talk about it in a minute. But we're forming a solid squad, haven't we? I think.
Yeah, we've got our platoon, like Dad's Army, innit?
It is like Dad's Army. Yeah, good though, very good.
It is. Funny enough, I was talking to Paul Glazebrook from the Royal Green Jackets. I mentioned his book.
What's his book called?
Been Nowhere, Done Nothing. I think it's called something like that. But yeah, it's Back Time in the Army. It seems like a really good book anyway.
Yeah.
But once I've learnt to read, I'll read it. But
so it's a really good book, but you haven't read it.
It's got pictures.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So
what of?
People.
Like the stuff that was on my laptop?
Yeah, no, not that bad. So anyway, I was talking to him and he was like asking about our Muster Point Breakfast Club, and he said, it sounds like you've got like your own little platoon, your own little unit. And I said, it is.
Yeah, it is, exactly that.
It's funny. You've got people who are closer than others, but everyone gets on, everyone looks out for each other. And then on Thursday morning, we went to our local war memorial.
So this was Thursday the 8th, on VE Day.
Was there 15 of us from the Muster Point?
I didn't count, Was there? There was a good few, wasn't there?
I was shocked how many of us turned up.
Even Norman was there in his chair, wasn't he?
Yeah. Brilliant turnout, and we was all together.
Yeah. We walked up together and we stood together, and Steve and I laid the wreath. Again, I had some sort of spunk on my back. I don't know whether that was Sanderson that had fucking got me with the old, what's it called? Fucking the Spider-Man.
But me and you laid a wreath, and we got stood to attention.
And we're still at attention, aren't we?
For the whole parade, because we're being ex-soldiers, that we stood to attention like we were told to.
And we weren't relieved.
We done a 2 minute silence, and I think the bloke lost track of time because that went on for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I see everyone sort of waving a hand at him, and then he carried on with his trumpet.
Yeah.
But no, it was really good. Then we weren't allowed in the community centre. It's for dignitaries only.
Well, yeah. So the branch chairman of the British Legion comes out and says thank you to everyone for attending. There's tea and coffee in the local community centre, but it's only for the dignitaries, which rubbed some people up the wrong way because our chairman of the local branch and his wife's the president. They've never served a day in their life, have they?
No.
But I will say one thing. So I went over and see Kevin Bonavia, our local MP, and he said, "Oh, Stu, I'll catch you in Springfield House, which is the community centre." And I said, dignitaries only. And he said, "Don't be silly, you lot can come in." Yeah. So I don't know who's... See, to me, I sort of instantly blamed the Legion because he was the one that announced it, but maybe I was shooting the messenger there, but...
But because he said it like he was having a bit of dig at the authorities, the people in charge, but he's still winning there.
But I don't know.
If it was me, I would have had a little dig and then not gone in there myself. But,
yeah.
But either way, we went to the Weatherspoons. We had a right laugh in there. That we, to be fair, was giving Arthur some shit for being little and old.
Yeah, a few of us went in there, didn't we?
Yeah.
I had Coke. There's a few funny, peculiar people in the Weatherspoons at that time of the morning, isn't there?
Yeah.
But I would say, just going back, so when we laid the reef, so we'd obviously bought the reef several weeks ago, and I know I was sort of imagining that it would be like, the Lord Lieutenant of whatever, the British Legion, the whatever, come up and lay your reefs, and then when it got to the point of any other poor sod that's got a reef, come lay it. And I thought we were going to be shoehorned into that category, but no. The announcement came out, weren't we? And we were reasonably high up the list.
Well, we was in front of all the... obviously, I think the Labour Party MP was in front of us.
Yeah, so was Baroness, and I can't remember her name.
The other politicians, the Conservatives, the Lib Dems, they was after us, yeah.
All right. But what was it? We got introduced to Stu Mendelson and Stevenage Black from the Muster Point.
I'll take that name.
Why not? But yeah,
George was never going to let me live that down.
George is a character, isn't he? He was when we were all sort of formed up in that, like watching the Padre or whoever she was, doing the speeches and that. I've looked at you and you've gone, I couldn't stand next to George and that, and I've turned around and he's constantly whispering in my ear, and I looked around and he's giving me these side eyes with a funny face, and I could just imagine being on parade with him, like some sort of important parade, and he's the cunt that's fucking flicking your ear.
He's mid-60s, isn't he? But he's like a 17-year-old.
Quality
behaviour. He needs to grow up a bit.
But yeah, so then we went. What did we do after that? We went to... I can't really remember. I know we tracked down one of our regulars, or he was a regular at the Muster Point, an old boy, and he'd sort of gone off the radar, and we were a bit concerned about him. So we tracked him down, and the supported living manager said, yeah, he's alive and well. Obviously, that's all the information she could give. So it turns out that George has pissed him off and he don't like him anymore.
But he's all right. So that's
the main thing.
That made me laugh when we was in the pub. Someone mentioned the respirator and Arthur, because he was served in Borneo in the late 50s, I think.
Yeah.
And he went, respirator? You lot was in a technical army and we didn't have respirators. We just had to breathe all that shit in.
Yeah. Do you know what? So I heard Arthur, it could have been on yesterday, actually. So someone was... I don't know who I was chatting to, but someone said, "Oh, are you a veteran as well?" to Arthur, and he went, "Oh, sort of." And me and Daz were like, "What are you on about, Arthur?" Like, "Of course you are." He's like, "Well, I've done national service." It's like, fucking hell,
yeah,
Arthur, mate. Like, you spent most of that in the jungle where no man wants to live.
18 months in the jungle. Yeah,
bad, that, isn't it?
Yeah, but he was well happy yesterday because a local church come and helped us with food, and they was like a Jamaican. Was it a Jamaican church?
No,
a lot of them are Jamaicans anyway.
I need to. So they're like a reformed Christian. One of them.
Yeah. But anyways, a lot of Jamaicans there, and really friendly people, really nice people. And Arthur he come over. I said, "You had a nice time?" Yeah, he goes, "These people here," he goes, "really nice people." And I said, "Oh yeah, well, they're Jamaican. They're normally happy."
Yeah.
And he said, "No," he goes, "When I was in the army, in between going back to Borneo, we had 7 weeks in Jamaica." And he goes, "Where I was posted was exactly where a lot of these people were from." And he said, "The pubs are still there. The pubs I drunk in the 50s and 60s are still open."
Mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think, because I never went to the jungle, but I know lads that did. I think Stoner did, Jacko. And when you're on R&R from there, you stop off at Cancun for like a few weeks.
That's all right.
There's some trouble that goes down there,
Yeah, I've heard.
apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was Thursday morning. Then Thursday night, we were invited to attend this BBC VE Day 80th anniversary concert on Horse Guards Parade. So we were all I was wearing my Union flag waistcoat and bow tie. You had a Union flag waistcoat on,
Yeah.
and it was good, wasn't it? What did you think?
Well, to start off with, the Lancaster flew over. And no one was expecting that. And
That was brilliant, wasn't it?
yeah, it did.
Not many people can say that they've been buzzed by a Lancaster.
Yeah,
Me and you had hard-ons, didn't we?
we did. Yeah, I had to sit down for a while. But, no, it was the Remembrance Sunday, Trooping in the Colour. You know they might be doing. Well, chances are they're going to do something like that. But
Yeah.
to not expect it and to see it less than 100, it was really low, wasn't it?
It was
less than
low.
100 metres, 200 metres. It was low.
Yeah, it was.
But
You could see the eyeballs of the pilot.
yeah, it was something else. And but then the music was great, but it just didn't seem to get going. I felt.
Yeah.
I hate to criticise it, but they wanted this big party atmosphere, and don't get me wrong, there was a lot of very old people there, so maybe that's why. But they didn't seem to. It was almost like they was holding back a bit.
Well, this is the thing. So the compare comes on, which you wouldn't have seen on TV, and he's like, "Oh, don't be afraid to get up and dance. Don't be afraid to have a sing along." But when it comes to it, because they were like threading in sort of stories from people that had experienced World War II, you were sort of like an emotional wreck in tears because some of those stories were absolutely
About the evacuees and stuff
Yeah.
as well, because they get left out and they done such a. My nan was one, and getting sent away as a 4 or 5 year old, which was
crazy.
They
And then one of them got sent back.
Yeah, 'cause she went to bed.
Yeah.
My nan had terrible experiences like that. Though. She I think she got sent away to Amersham.
Yeah.
Not even that far away from London. And no one wanted her. She was the last kid on the platform. It was horrible. But then the family she went to, there was 2 girls, and they used to abuse her, beat her up and that.
Fucking hell.
So then my nan's dad went to visit her and said, and she she hated it. So they brought her back. But then the bombing started again, and she went to another place, and she loved it there.
Yeah.
And we got a picture of her when she was a little girl, smiling her off, and it's got like 2 mum and dad.
Yeah.
From Stella Putt, her name was. But yeah, the evacuees done their part. It's horrific.
Exactly. But this is the thing. So when you like mix those sort of sad stories with then viral in, it's like, what am I gonna like? Because it was the music was quite like low key, obviously. So like, who was that guy? I can't think of his name, but he does that rudimental song. Walker, Tom. No, that was another guy. I can't think of his name, but it's like a drum and bass tune, isn't it? And me and you were like waiting for it to go.
I don't even really like that sort of music, but it gets you going.
Yeah.
And it just didn't. It died out. And they brought all these singers out. There's about 50 singers.
Yeah.
And the Royal Marines band.
The corps of drums. Yeah. I said to you, like, 'cause my brother-in-law's an ex-bandsman, Royal Marines bandsman, and those corps of drums, they can drum, and they were just stood there like
just having a little rattle, and I felt sorry for them.
And it sounded it sounded terrible on TV.
Yeah,
but for me, it was about the privilege of being there. I think being one of.
There was a lot of whoppers there, though. I noticed really looking down their noses at people.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't notice that. I'm oblivious to that shit. Yeah, I'm used to it.
You've only got 50% of your vision, though.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
But no, and I bumped into my mate Bob. From the Tank Regiment Association.
Yeah, he loves to talk, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's good to talk.
Well, what was it? It was funny because you were chatting to him, and then one of the researchers comes over and goes, "Oh, I'm a BBC researcher. Can you share some stories or whatever?" So he starts going into this story. Then she starts playing with a walkie-talkie thing, like sort of turns her back, and he just carries on talking. And then she goes, "Sorry, I missed that. Can you start again?" And then he just started again naturally. Didn't even question it.
Yeah, because he's got a funny story. Because his surname's Swiniarski.
Oh, right.
And it's obviously not an English name.
Yeah.
So he was saying, "I've got a VE Day story, but my dad was at D-Day." And she went, "Oh, right." He went, Like, what regiment was he in? He weren't in the uniforms that you recognise. He was in the German uniform. Well, it was the truth. The story is his dad was Polish.
Yeah.
And when Germany invaded Poland, he was captured and put in the army.
Yeah.
Just stuck in a bunker on Normandy for the war.
Nice.
I think it was at Omaha Beach. But he said like they didn't want to fight. As soon as the Americans got on, they wanted to throw their rifle away and run.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's probably a German officer with a machine gun behind them. But
and then there was obviously they had other World War II veterans, some in the Royal Box, some sat down on a platform and poor fucking hell, they've been dragged out. They were freezing cold.
It was really cold as well.
And they're thinking, I don't recognise half these songs.
Yeah.
What was it you said to me? Because I love us. I was shouting and singing when I fucking all this. And
I said, I said, fucking hell, what would you like if you was when you drunk? Like, you must have been all right fucking pain in the arse.
Yeah, fucking hell. But yeah, it was good. We got on if you're quick enough to see, we were on TV.
It was quite a lot. You can see the rear of us quite a lot because you can just see my bald head.
Yeah.
Because everyone else had hats on and woolly coats and all that, and I had a big bald head.
Yeah. It was a long old day, wasn't it? And then we, because I was back in London again, sort of 8. Because by the time, I don't know about you, I dropped you off, but I got home. I got to bed about 12:30.
Yeah.
And then I'm up going back to London to go to college, and it was like I was fucked, absolutely wasted.
I don't know what I've done Friday, but Saturday I went into London again. I was at Burton Court, which is opposite where the Chelsea pensioners live.
Yeah.
The Cavalry Cup.
Okay.
I don't know how long ago, but I let the Tank Regiment join it.
Yeah.
And the Tank Regiment won. So it's a tournament.
What, on Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday
I thought
morning.
you said they lost.
No, that was another tournament. No, this is the actual Tank Regiment, the current serving Tank Regiment. They won 2-0. It was a good game of football, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's really nice weather. Started burning my head.
Yeah.
And then, then we had Sunday afternoon, they had the VE Day Cup in Sunderland.
All right. Bloody hell, they're getting round a bit, aren't they?
No, but this is the Royal Tank Regiment Veterans team.
I'm not keeping up, am I, Steve? I just want it to be the same Tank Regiment team.
Yeah. But I didn't know anyone. The serving blokes, I didn't know any of them.
Yeah.
But the veterans team, it was Chris Bryant, Damo, who was at Watford.
Yeah.
And they travelled all up to Sunderland.
Yeah.
And like Twinny was there from Liverpool.
Yeah. I saw a picture of him with the captain's armband on. Is that official? Do you know?
I think him and AD are going to have a punch up and see who wins.
Really?
But anyway, they got to the semi-finals and they got knocked out on penalties. Oh. But the team who knocked them out were the winners. They was the Mean Machine. I don't know if that was a veterans team or what.
All right.
Yeah, it's early days yet, so I don't know too many details. But fair play to them. They played I think it's 4 games they played.
Yeah.
So,
what, full 11 aside?
7 aside, I think.
7 aside, okay.
But I think they was only allowed 10 players in the squad.
Yeah, right.
So it's good going. Not like when we was at Watford when there was about 30 players and rolling subs.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a fair play to them.
And then, so before we go on to what we've done Sunday, like May is this time in May, so it was my missus' birthday Saturday, the 10th. Then it's my sister's birthday on the 11th, and then it's my mum's birthday on the 13th of May. So then intertwined with that is all these VE Day events. So I was a very busy boy. And I would like to say, so what's the date today? 12th of May today. So today it is Tom Wellard, Pud's birthday.
Happy birthday, Pud.
So obviously, by the time this goes out, it'll be a week ago or whatever. But happy birthday, Pud.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sunday, the big muster point VE Day event. We had the sunshine, didn't we?
We did. We got there early, didn't we? And there was a yoga class going on in the room we'd hired.
Yeah, well, I knew about that.
Yeah, but we just waited around for a bit, didn't we? But it was really busy anyway. There's a lot of people there. 'Cause it's a nice place. The weather was nice. So, we set up and...
It was absolutely packed, wasn't it?
You couldn't... I've heard 300. A lot of people
Really?
A lot of people reckon there's about 300 people. I wouldn't know where to start with counting it.
Bloody hell.
Put
it this way, like, you have to go on.
I've asked about 10 people, and the average was probably about 300.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You have to go on our Facebook page at the Muster Point Veterans and have a look. But it was a cracking day, and as Steve said, you couldn't move, could you?
Nah.
And that was at the beginning, and the plan was to have the Royal Marine and Sea Cadets in Stevenage march on, national anthem, I'd organised Churchill's VE Day speech. Then I was going to give a speech, and like people were in the way, like I couldn't see anything. People were going to me, "I want to get on the bouncy castle," and I'm like, "Fucking, just calm down, calm the fuck down."
And that was Chizzard.
Yeah. But I mean, you couldn't have asked for more, could you?
No.
Really? Like,
No,
for our first event, we done all right, didn't we?
Yeah, we had some good raffle prizes that were
Brilliant raffle prizes,
really
yeah.
kindly donated by loads of businesses.
Yeah.
Um,
And obviously, the entire event was sponsored by MR Barrett Electrical Limited in Letchworth, and they came down. Yeah, that was brilliant because obviously, well, without that support, it just doesn't happen, does it?
it would have been a big outlay for us.
Yeah.
It's a gamble, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And, well, this morning I banked the money, so actually we've raised over £1,000 from that day.
Yeah.
And then Mark and Ryan, who run MR Electrical, they reached out to their electrical wholesalers. I think it's Wharfside Electrical in Milton Keynes and Bedford. And they really invested time and effort, and they had several things going over the course of the week. And I think Mark said to me that they've raised over £900 for us, which is incredible.
It is,
And what I kept being told off, because I didn't mention it on Three Counties Radio, I didn't mention it on my opening speech. We've still got going this signed football memorabilia auction going on. So some of the items we've got are, Steve?
a Spurs pennant,
West
Brom pennant,
Yeah.
a Chelsea football,
Signed Chelsea football.
a Celtic tour of the ground
Yeah.
for £4.
I think so, yeah.
And
Signed Stevenage Borough shirt, signed Luton shirt, signed Barnet shirt, signed Southend shirt,
Wrexham,
signed Wrexham shirt,
Cambridge
United,
Bradford.
yeah. And obviously we've got the Trent Alexander signed Liverpool shirt, so you can look at that either way, whether it's a keepsake because he's signed with Real Madrid, or you could just bid on it, buy it and burn it if you're that way inclined.
Yeah.
We're still hoping to get Jared Bowen signed West Ham shirt and potentially a signed Vinicius Junior Real Madrid shirt.
What about York?
That's a good question. I need to ask him about that. Yeah.
Because I was told yesterday or the day before that York and Southend are quite close. I don't know if you know that.
So they're in the conference.
No, I mean they're friends. Apparently Southend were in a bit of trouble a while back, and York fans clubbed together and helped them get out of this trouble. I don't know the details of it. So there's a bond between them.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think I don't know if it's going to go into administration or something, but the York fans clubbed together and helped them out.
Oh,
Don't know how true that is or what the details are, but it's nice to hear that.
it is nice to hear that.
I went to York once last year, I think. My sister lives there, my brother-in-law.
Claire from York, everyone
Claire
knows her. I met her. I met all the fam.
But no, anyway, me and my brother-in-law and my nephew went, and it's called the Community Stadium, and it is a very community sort of team. It's a nice atmosphere.
So if any of this football memorabilia signed kit interests you, I think the auction closes on the 31st of May. Head over to Gala Bid. I think it's galabid.com/the muster point, or go on our website, themusterpoint.org.uk, and there's the first page you'll see is a link to the bidding website. I think when I checked it last night, we're up to over £1,700 on that. So this VE Day event and everything, we're going to get a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it will all go into expanding the work we do with veterans. And, in Stevenage, across Hertfordshire, and you guys listening on the podcast.
Yeah. Bigger and better things.
So you mentioned about Claire from York, and it was good. So obviously I was fucking being pulled from pillar to post, but I think you met my missus, your missus met my missus, and the kids, and I met your mum
Your auntie and uncle turn up. I didn't expect them to turn up.
Yeah. And your best mate,
yeah,
your
my best-
version of James.
Yeah, my best mate Brett and his Mrs. Kaylee.
Stoner come down, didn't he?
Yeah, Stoner, yeah.
He didn't give you an engineer slap though, did he?
I said to him, "Where's me slap?"
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, I forgot. Sorry."
Do you know what? Bless him. So he lives in South London. He got the train up to Hertfordshire, then walked from the train station to Fairlands Valley Park, not knowing where he was going. And
Weren't he a PTI?
yeah, he was a PTI.
Good. I hope it was hard work. I hope he got sunburnt.
Slag. He was all right though.
Yeah, nice bloke. Nice to meet him. Yeah, nice. I met your mate James as well.
Yeah.
Just organise all these football shirts. So,
Yeah.
It's just good to meet people, isn't it? And
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a very good day. Check out the pictures on our Facebook group.
yeah, Chizzard and his missus done well with the raffle, didn't they? They manned that.
Yeah, considering she's 4 weeks away from dropping, she was stood in or sat down in the blistering heat all day. They done well.
My nephew Freddie apparently has got a man crush on Chizzard.
Has it?
Yeah, because he was helping Chizzard for a bit, and when they got home last night, Dog said, "Fucking hell, all Freddie keeps going on about is fucking Chizzard."
Really? Fucking everyone loves Chizzard, don't they?
So, yeah, I did get them
Fucker
badges.
don't do anything.
I got them badges, didn't I? Chizzard's number one fan, and all the women had them on.
Yeah.
I was fighting over them.
Were they?
I had to give mine away
Did you?
because his mother-in-law had the but she didn't have one.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had the Bouncy Castle, the chaos. I was the first one to man that. Fucking hell.
Yeah. Well, what was it? It was so funny, wasn't it? So I'd sorted out the bounce castle. They turned up, and I left it switched off. So because you know what kids are like, they just fucking get attracted to it. And you've gone right. I'll man it first, and that. And I don't know. It must have been half hour in. I've gone, Steve, you're getting on the bouncy castle. You went, where is it? I mean, you need to turn it on, you fucker.
But we had 6 kids at a time.
Yeah.
And I was giving them 5 minutes each because it was busy. And they loved it. We had a casualty. We had a little girl.
Oh, right.
She twisted her ankle.
She was a cadet, though, wasn't she?
Yeah, which I was happy about. Because as soon as I see she was a cadet, I try, you better get one of your adults.
Yeah.
But 5 minutes later, I see her running around with a bottle of Fanta in her hand. So
Yeah. Kids are resilient. Aren't
yeah,
they?
but no, it's just a nice day. And my niece Eleanor, she done face painting.
Yeah.
So there was kids running around with ice creams on their head, half a butterfly. Yeah, some like random designs.
She had one sunburnt arm, didn't she?
Yeah, poor cat, really bad as well. Yeah.
So hopefully she's in front of the sergeant major today.
She was I think she's done her art exam today. She was doing her GCSE.
Did they go back to York?
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Yeah, last night. Yeah.
Fair play to them.
Yeah.
And it was good to see because Chizzard and Dog, they had a raff off, didn't they?
Yeah.
And did you see it round the back of the do and that? Fucking Dog was giving him a hiding.
Oh, was he?
Battering him,
Oh,
yeah.
good. I would have joined in if I'd have given him a bat.
Yeah, proper had his head kicked in.
But no, it was just a brilliant day.
It was good.
I got home last night and I was buzzing.
Was ya?
Yeah.
I was fucked, mate.
I was, to be fair. My ankle, because I get bad arthritis in my left ankle.
Fucking hell, you're falling apart, aren't you, boy.
Yeah, my foot.
Flaky skin, fucking bad ankle, gonorrhea.
My foot points inwards, and I could hardly walk. Yeah,
What, like a club foot?
no, just my. Not even if I do a lot of walking, if I stand in it for too long, it just starts pointing inwards.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, so I was in a bit of a
Fucking
bad way.
spastic.
I know. I was lying on the floor actually,
Yeah.
with my feet up on the sofa, and the pain finally went away.
How did it?
Yeah.
Maybe it's a circulation issue then.
No, well, I've done a ligament a few years ago, and it's
Did
just
you?
yeah, and then I got arthritis, and now I've got arthritis in my hands. So.
Fucking hell. You want to put a claim in, mate?
No, I want to start smoking weed.
I dare.
That's what I want to start doing. I've always had jobs where I get drugs tested, like army, railway, and that. And I've always wanted to smoke weed, but I've never been able to do it. But now I've got a job that I don't get drugs tested, and
You don't want to do it?
I'm not bothered no more. But I like the idea of it, but I'm scared.
You'll be in the corner freaking out.
Listening to Bob Marley.
Yeah.
With, dreadlocks.
Before we go on to some listener sit rep stuff, I'd just like to say, so remember we spoke to Darren from Veterans into Logistics?
We did.
And we'd done that episode on Beyond the Wire. So, and we've also had interaction from a guy I serve with, Matt Milner. So these two have got in contact with each other off the back of this podcast, and that something's going to come of it. Like, I don't know, I think Matt works for a logistics company, but they're going to set up another link in that for Veterans into Logistics. And when Matt sent me that, I thought it's another tick. Like,
it's just
fucking
spreading the word.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Like, good things are coming from it.
Definitely, if it helps one person, it's working.
Yeah, exactly. All right, shall we go on to some listener sit rep stuff?
Yeah.
You got anything lined up?
No.
No.
I've got a few bits picked over the month people sent in. So it's completely random stuff. But Dog, he said he used to enjoy blowing out CS gas from his respirator filters into people's faces.
Fair one.
You know, like when you do the gas chamber thing and then a week later you still got CS gas blowing in it. So Smithy said about he remembered the first time he'd ever used a Green Goddess cooker. And he said his troop sergeant was going on about how great this cooker was. 45 minutes of hard work and he finally got it running. During that time, someone had given Smithy a gas cooker, so he'd cooked his dinner already. So these Green Goddesses, they were, you had to it's like a fine-tuned engine to get it running. It was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How is Smithy doing? Is he all right? I haven't heard from him.
Yeah, he's on the mend. I did say to him, is there anything you want me to say? And he said, if people still want to donate, I know he didn't complete it, but he's still done 94 kilometres.
Yeah.
They're probably the same with Sloane Street. If people just want to give some money to a decent charity, Scotty's Little Soldiers.
Well, so that reminds. So on our last episode that we recorded and haven't put out yet, I said that I was going to put the link in, didn't I?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll do that. So I don't know. I'm all confused in my time machine now of where I am. But when you're listening to this, fucking look at the last episode and sponsor him. Any other? You got anything else? Come on.
Actually, Rab sent me something last week, but I didn't get a chance to ring out. So Rab said in America they struggle with our slang and phrases. He said a few of the things he's noticed. There's some sort of nicknames we use, and smoking or a cigarette is known as a tab, a bind, a grind, a grinder, or you burst into flames, or cancer stick.
Yeah. Or a tickler if it's a roll up, tickles the back of your throat.
Oh, I've never heard that one. But a sergeant major, the RSM, Regimental Sergeant Major, is known as the Razman.
Yeah, Razman.
Have you heard of sausage maker?
No.
We used to call our sergeant major a sausage maker.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
Or
Any background to that?
SM.
Okay.
And if he was a squadron sergeant major, he was a scary scary sausage maker.
All right. Or the badge.
We didn't use the word the badge.
Yeah.
No, I've got that here, the badge, yeah. Batters is a British Army training unit, Suffield. Suffield is in Alberta, in Canada. And the nearest town is Medicine Hat, and it's home to the tallest teepee.
Okay.
I've pissed up it.
Have you?
Yeah.
Because you were saying you'd rather go Batters on the piss than Vegas when you were out there.
Yeah, Medicine. I like Medicine Hat.
Yeah.
I thought Medicine Hat was all right, but people used to go, you're going all this way, thousands of miles, and you want to go to Medicine Hat. Like, yeah.
But as you quite rightly said, didn't you, that it's got all the same stuff Vegas has on a smaller scale. It's got bars, it's got women,
it's got
and
casino.
It's got casino. What more do you need?
And it's only $50 in a cab, right?
Yeah.
It's
probably a hell of a lot cheaper to get a drink.
That's all right. I liked it in there.
So interestingly, you talk about slang words and the Americans not getting some of our terminology. And I experienced this when I was I know I'm going to bore you because when I got blown up in Afghanistan, Steve, and I flew up to Kabul and was operated on by the American eye specialist. So it was the American camp in Kabul. And I remember coming round, and I must have been on the ward again, I'm blind, and I had the old catheter up my penis, and it started hurting, basically. And so I, shouted for the nurses, and I was going, I'm in pain, can you pull the catheter out? It's, hurting me. And I'm sure everyone listening to this, you know what a catheter is, right? And they had no comprehension. They were going, we don't understand what you're saying and all this. And I'm like, a catheter, a fucking catheter. And I was getting quite frustrated because I was thinking, you fucking speak the English language, for God's sake. And they, when I fucking pointed at my dick and said it's hurting, they eventually got the idea. And they refer to it as a dolly.
Oh, what?
And then they pulled it out, which was an experience. But it just made me think how, we both speak English as nations. And
fag, that's a big one, isn't it? A fag.
Yeah, okay.
Obviously, it means it's quite an offensive word in America.
Yeah.
But to us, that's what a cigarette is.
Yeah. Well, have you seen that Mickey Flanagan thing where because he spent some time in New York? Can I come in your ass? And she's like, "What? You can't come in my ass."
A first date.
I won't be there long.
I'll take my shoes off.
I'll take my shoes off.
But I know when you got to Canada, the first couple of days you have to have briefings on laws.
Yeah.
And they talk about I think they mentioned about fags.
Yeah.
Because they're very religious in Canada, that part of Canada, and they're a bit homophobic.
All right.
There was anyway, I don't know now. But they don't like men dancing, so men don't dance.
All right.
it's like a red flag to a squaddy because we used to snog
Yeah,
each
yeah.
other, we'd be
Yeah,
dancing
yeah,
with each
yeah.
other, kissing each other's necks.
I'll get nicked
Yeah.
by those Canadian manties.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know why, but
Yeah. Funny old language, isn't it?
it is. Yeah,
All right, so what we're moving on to? Armed Forces news?
yeah.
So, Armed Forces and Veterans news. What we got? Well, I'll start off a bit light, but I did see a LinkedIn post from SAFA, your mates.
Yeah.
So they'd commissioned a survey, and basically this survey came back saying that something like 80% of Gen Z don't know what VE Day is. And I thought, the first thing I thought, and I think I even commented on it, was, what a great use of SAFA funds. Yeah. So without having to commission a fucking investigation or a report, I could have told you that.
Yeah. But then,
And what does it matter finding that out? Like the only way you solve it is by doing what you should do anyway, and that's celebrating these things. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not just once every 5 years.
but it hasn't always been every 5 years. They had it in 1995 and then nothing till 2020.
Yeah. And you said that was only because of COVID.
Yeah, I think that was only to get people together during the first lockdown.
Yeah.
So I think we should do it every year. Maybe not on the scale it has been, but it should be recognised
Yeah, of
every
course. Yeah. And because that's the only way you're going to solve it, isn't
year.
it?
And funny enough, when I was doing the Bouncy Castle thing yesterday, this little girl, bless her, she had big, like really long, curly ginger hair, and she just looked at me. She went, "Oh, mister." I went, "What?" She went, "I've been learning about VE Day." I went, "Oh, what have you been learning?" She went, "Everyone had a party."
Yeah.
That's it. And then I said to Layla,
Yeah,
I said, she said she'd been learning about VE. I said, "What was it?" She went, "They had a big party."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh."
They did, yeah.
Yeah, they did, didn't they? And then I see a clip on the news, I think it was last Monday. They had some bloke, and he was in Holland, I think, when they announced VE Day. And they said, "What did you do?" And I went in a pub for 2 days. I don't remember much of it, but I remember 2 days later.
Yeah. But that's what I said on the opening bit of our thing yesterday was, there is a time for silence and remembrance, but there's also a time that we remember by partying and celebrating. Like, it's not just about that. Because and that's what I said. I said it. I think I could have said it to Kevin, our MP. I said, like, do you know when the last posts played? A lot of people like bowed their heads, didn't they? I don't. I like keep my head up because that's how I remember my mates that died. It's like I'm with them. I'm proud. Like not. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. There's different ways people
everyone's
remember.
got their own ways of doing things, haven't they? But like you talk about celebrating. I know I mentioned before when I was in Afghanistan when someone died we was close to, we'd not celebrate, but we'd have a game of cricket or football or volleyball or something. We would make, being like Camp Shawcat, for instance, there wasn't nothing there when I was there, but we'd make a cricket ball out of black nasty, get a bit of wood or something, tape it up, make a cricket bat, and we'd just muck about.
Yeah.
But certain people didn't like that.
Yeah.
But it's what we did.
Exactly. So what do you reckon? Do you reckon it was a good use of SAFA funds?
I think any use of SAFA funds is good.
Of course you do. You have to say that.
The thing is, there's people who are employed to look at statistics and that, and unless they've got the statistics, they've got no job, have they? So
yeah, but this is it's like this. So this, I don't know, the NHS or someone commissioned in Hertfordshire this Heart's Health Watch to basically conduct a study of veterans in Hertfordshire and their needs and their experiences of the NHS. And I've been given the report, and like the thing that interested me most is like their method. They have to like say how they conducted their study, and they interviewed 19 members of the armed forces community, and because the armed forces community is veterans, serving soldiers, reservists, family members, and like they interviewed 19.
I tried to take part in that survey.
Yeah.
And well, I was offering £10 vouchers. I didn't do it. I didn't care about that. But I thought I can't complain about a service if I'm not willing to help. So I signed up to it, and I just got mucked about so much that I just didn't bother in the end.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, so there's over 25,000 veterans in Hertfordshire. So that's not including like serving members and family members and all that. And it's like you've managed to interview 19 people. Now, part of their study says that they reached out or looked up support groups and stuff like that. And they conducted this study, I think, from maybe October last year up until February this year. And I just thought, Well, they didn't contact the muster point. By that point, we'd been running a month, and it ain't like we had a website, we had Facebook page. It wouldn't have been hard.
And I had a Zoom meeting with Lister Hospital, Stevenage Hospital, about what we're doing. Nothing was mentioned then.
It's just a joke. And I hate to think how much this company's charged for it.
Yeah.
And to come back with 19, I'd be like, you ain't getting paid.
Yeah, what's the point? But and also, because I had my initial phone call, and he went, it's going to take about an hour. I thought, an hour? But I thought, all right, whatever, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I think I had 2, they cancelled me twice after that, I think.
Well, they were busy interviewing someone else out of the 19, right? Fuck.
Yeah. But yeah, I say this is the trouble. But then, veterans do need to. It's like giving up an hour of your time to talk nonsense is a bit hard anyway.
To me, I ain't being funny. If they'd have got in contact with us, we would have had a pool of 25 veterans that they could have interviewed.
I'm not fun thing, but they could have given us the
Yeah.
sheet, and we would have done it.
Exactly.
We'd have just give it out and said, bring it back next week.
Yeah. I don't even think they reached out to Forces United down in Watford, because from my research, you've got 3 hubs, as it were, in Hertfordshire. You've got us in the north, you've got Forces United down the south, and towards the east of Hertfordshire, you've got Coffee and Coping. And there's no reference to them reaching out to any of them. Yeah. I don't know. It's still a waste of money. Yeah. If you're going to do it fucking properly.
No, definitely.
And as I'm on the topic, I think, I don't know if I mentioned it, as I said, I'm lost in time, but Valor was mentioned, and they've even gone on to advertise the job role for the head of Valor. And it mentions about being responsible for recruiting a team of 40. And I think these 40 will be the regional coordinators that has been mentioned as part of Valor. It's only a 3-year role. When you start, obviously, there's £50 million allocated, and you start adding up 40 roles, and I think the head of Valor was between something like 75 and 90 grand plus benefits, and that you're soon eating into this £50 million.
People don't realise when there's that salary.
That's salary. Yeah,
I'm saying that. So say it's 80 grand.
Yeah,
that's the person getting paid that. Then the government has got to pay for insurance,
national insurance contributions.
Just the insurance for that person. If you die, you're insured. You've got to pay for everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Expenses. It all adds up.
But like IT equipment, it's the training and whatever.
Yeah.
And so interestingly, the NHS is dividing it into areas which are called, I think, integrated care services, and there's about 40 or 42. So I'm wondering if this is indicative that there'll be a regional rep for each NHS service. However, I have been told that the NHS are amalgamating some of these, and I asked Sarah, one of Kev's team, I said, do these different departments in government actually talk to each other? It's like, one will work over here, one will do this. Oh, right, we're going to set up to a lot, and then it doesn't work. And
also, it's a 3-year sort of contract. So
what happens after that?
And a lot of people are just going to use it as a stepping stone, or just, that's 3 years' work. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a tough one, isn't it?
As it goes back to that thing of, it sounds positive, but the more I read into it, the more sceptical I get. It's just another letdown.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know, wait and see. I'm going to apply for the job,
Why not?
Why not? I won't get it because it'll go to one of the old boys' club, won't it? Some colonel, or what's above colonel, like? I can't remember. Brigadier, something like that. Someone that's got no understanding
put retired Lieutenant Colonel Mendelson. Would they check?
I don't know. Probably not.
Since I've left the army, I've had 2 big jobs, and no one's ever asked to see any certificates or anything. Reference, never had a reference. So put it. I might put Brigadier Black.
Yeah, damn right.
Yeah.
And tomorrow I'm Tuesday the 13th. I'm in Parliament attending this Armed Forces Community APPG, and I'm gonna fucking try not to swear. But I've got some questions, because the topic for the discussion is on the expansion of the Armed Forces Covenant, and one of the people talking is the Armed Forces champion for Westminster Council, and well, there was a recent case where a soldier serving at Wellington Barracks who was being discharged and had spent the course of a year applying for housing with Westminster Council and hadn't come up, or nothing had come up for him. He hadn't been successful, and it got to like the last day and he was being evicted by the MOD, and I think Al Khan's had to step in, but it's just ridiculous.
And this bloke as well wasn't a native, was he? He was Fijian.
Yeah, Fijian, yeah.
So you've got people coming over illegally and getting looked after. You've got a bloke who served another country, part of the Commonwealth. He's done his bit and gets treated like that. It's disgraceful, isn't it?
But the thing is, it's their legal obligation, and I question whether this Armed Forces champion for Westminster, I'd be disappointed if she doesn't know about the case. And I'm just curious, like, what's going to work for these councils and NHS trusts to actually live by their legal obligation?
I feel they should lose funding.
Yeah.
There should be a punishment. We've had it recently in our local council. There's been serious failings. And it's horrific.
Well, I've got three examples of veterans being failed in the last 4 weeks, and then I've also got the head of, or the op community lead for Hertfordshire. I had a conversation with her about a client and housing, and he basically got turned down for housing towards the end of last year because he didn't have a local connection. And I said to her, well, since the 18th of December last year, it's actually changed. So there was a line which said a veteran that has left the armed forces within the last 3 years is exempt from the local area connection. However, since the 18th of December, that's been amended. So it's any veteran is exempt from the local connection for local authority housing. And she didn't know this. And it's like, these are the people that you're going to for advice, and she doesn't know. And it's like, it just winds me up.
Thing is, though, it's all right for the government or if it's to bring this law in, but there's a lot of veterans. And to bring a law like that in, you've got to be prepared to be able to do what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I say, one of the veterans we're talking about is no longer with us.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that would have been different if the Armed Forces Covenant was adhered to.
Yeah. I 100% agree.
Yeah. So, and Valor should stop that. Whether it does, I don't know.
It should do, and there's a lot of talk about, because I think and I'm making this up, that the comeback will be that they need more training and all this. And it's like, well, hold on a minute. There was another press release recently, April 2025, so last month, where they were boasting that every NHS trust is veteran aware. So it's like, well, the training's like, I do think that the training is adequate and hasn't been rolled out enough, but you can't use it as an excuse if you're boasting that every trust.
My wife works in hospital. She's she works in hospital dealing with a lot of patients.
Yeah.
She's never heard of, other than what I've told her, she's never heard of Op Courage, Op Restore.
Fucking hell.
And she should do. The role she's in, she should know.
Everyone should.
Yeah. And her department, they know because I've told her and she's told her colleagues.
Yeah.
I don't think they've ever been officially told.
Fucking hell. It's going wrong somewhere, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a broken system. And the government's blamed the last government, but they're all to blame because no one's ever done anything about it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what we wait with bated breath, won't we? We're always. That's all we can do is fight for change, and hopefully.
But what you said though about the people getting on the housing register, that's really useful for people to listen in.
Yeah.
So if you're from London and you're now living in Manchester, you can still put your name down on the council list. And if you're a veteran,
you don't have to have a local connection because
let them know,
because it's an easy one for the councils to use. Yeah. Oh, you haven't got a connection here, and they can fuck you off. Yeah. So, for example, I live in Bedfordshire, Central Beds Council, so I could technically go to Kent, pitch up and go, I'm a veteran, I want to be put on the housing register, and they have to say yes. That's in housing legislation, because that was the other thing. This community person was going, the local councils, they don't live up to their obligations under the covenant. And it's like, that isn't under the covenant. That's
Yeah.
that's housing legislation.
That's
So,
like I say, if you're from Bristol and you want to go to Middlesbrough and put your name on the list,
Yeah.
then they should get like up courage because you've clearly got mental problems.
I like that. Lift the tone a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hopefully I'm going to get a chance to speak tomorrow, and this reject accent from The Only Way is Essex, a bit rough around the edges, they're going to be like, fucking hell, who's this?
Is Kev going to be there?
Yep, so Kev...
He thought I was going. He was gutted I wasn't going.
Was he?
Yeah, and I said, no, I'll be there on, is it the 2nd of June?
2nd of June.
I said, no, I'm on nights, Kev. He, oh, no. And he did say, like, I really like the bloke.
Yeah.
And hopefully he lives up to his word. But he said, no, what I want is you and Stu and some members of the muster point to come to Parliament and...
Meet Al Khans.
Yeah.
Unless he goes man down with altitude sickness from his attempt on Everest.
Or his toes drop off.
Yeah. Well, Kev said, I told Kev what I planned to say at this APPG, and he said he'll ensure I get to speak. So hopefully we'll see what happens. We'll report back. That's all we can do.
Definitely.
Any news? Anything else news-wise?
Nothing worth talking about, really. I think the Spitfire crashed, or didn't crash, sorry. It made an emergency landing in Kent the other day.
Okay.
So hopefully everyone... Well, I think the pilot was all right anyway.
Yeah.
But hopefully they're not going to ground the Battle of Britain memorial flight because Stevenage has been given access to it on Armed Forces Day. Stevenage has Armed Forces Day the week before for some reason. It's something to do with a link we've got with a German town, which I do not get.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I think the 21st of June is Stevenage Armed Forces Day, and they're going to be flying the Battle of Britain Memorial is going to fly over.
Yeah. Nice.
So, yeah. Right, so I got a video for this bloke. He sent me quite a few. We played a couple last week.
Mate, you'll be fucking blocking me. Yeah, my first ever Queen's Guard, there was a guy called... He was a senior bottles in St James's Palace. And they made me put Spam in his boots. You know, that fucking... I don't know if you used to get it on Barrack Guard, but on Queen's Guard overnight, they'd put some food and stuff to make sandwiches. Pink Death. And, yeah, the other senior bods for threatening to kick my tits in. Spam in his boots. Anyway, he wanted to know who the fuck it was, and everyone just pointed a finger at me, and he's going, oh, don't worry, mate, I know they put it up to you. Anyway, I was fucking shitting myself, whole guard, waiting for him to fucking fill me in. But nothing happened. Anyway, it was about a week before I did my next Queen's Guard, and you take your stuff to the pressing shop, and we were in greatcoats. And if you see the white cotton gloves that you wear in winter with the greatcoats, you basically roll them up inside out, just put them in your pocket, and they're generally good to go for a couple of guards. Anyway, I went down to the pressing shop, and all I got was fucking the bods in the pressing shop going, oh, get here, you fucking dickhead, you left your gloves in the pocket. I went to take the gloves out of the pocket. Took them out. Yeah, the fucking horrible cunt that got me back. He'd shat in my pocket, my greatcoat pocket. I dismounted guard with shit in my pocket, and obviously wanted to put the gloves in. They'd gone all crusty, and my gloves were stuck to this shit, so I had to cut the fucking pocket lining out of the pocket of my greatcoat. Yeah, that was a fucking good one, but yeah, fair play to him. I thought he'd get me back, I just didn't know how, but yeah, he had taken a shit in my pocket, and he ended up, I think, as head of security. But yeah,
with chisels, mate, our fight.
Yeah.
Especially as a senior bod.
Yeah, brilliant.
But do you? So what was it? The pocket on his tunic or something?
The greatcoat. You know the big. I think.
Yeah, like a tunic. Yeah.
No, the big grey ones they wear in winter.
Okay. So like, how would you shit in that? You couldn't shit in that. You'd have to like shit and then place it in there, wouldn't you?
I don't know. They're pretty big pockets. Depends how good your aim is, really, doesn't it? Maybe it's a two-man job. One hides it in.
Yeah, fucking hell.
Yeah.
He needs, if he's going to send stories in, he needs to. This is his last opportunity to stop saying names. Otherwise, I'm just going to put them in.
But what I want, because we was on Thursday when we was in Wetherspoons, one of our blokes was a guardsman, and he was telling us some brilliant traditions.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And, so if you're listening, I don't know, in a few episodes' time, we're going to have an episode about weird traditions, unusual traditions.
Yeah.
So
that'd be a good one.
Everyone.
Yeah, and we want to. So the guy you mentioned that comes to the muster point, he knows this guy, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So we want to line them up because they're similar, aren't they? Apart from, well, there's a few differences, but
yeah, no, they are. They've both got very dry sense of humour, I think,
and quite deep voices.
Yeah.
Prerequisite for being a guardsman.
Yeah.
Anything else coming?
Got a few questions.
All right.
I can't remember the name. I've got one. Well, Mike Jason McCluskey. This is a while ago. He asked this. Went on joint ops with other nations. Do the British feel like a poor relation when it comes to kit?
Yeah, probably.
I'd say definitely. I work with the Danish, the Estonians, Americans, and definitely like Estonia.
Yeah.
You just expect that to be a bit of a, like the Russians, but they weren't. They had much better kit than us.
Well, I remember on my tour of Afghanistan, so I think it was like the Danish and the Estonians, if they, like, say Fob Shawkat. So Fob Shawkat, when I was there, we were under canvas tents. That was our accommodation. And the cookhouse block was, do you know that? I can't even think what it was called. Like, it was reinforced. You had the Hesco with like stuff over the top. Do you know what I mean? It was like a bunker basically.
Yeah.
So that it was apparently the Danish and the Estonians, if they any of their patrol bases or forward operating bases, that was a prerequisite. They had to have that sort of bunker proof as their accommodation, whereas we're just under canvas or even under the stars sometimes.
First time I went to Iraq, we got a Schreiber quite a lot. We had a little camp there. We'd stay in them. We was in tents.
Yeah,
and there was a lot of IDF, and but the Danish had bunkers.
Yeah.
Like proper bunkers. They don't have Hesco and that.
Yeah.
It was bunkers.
Their government looks after them, don't they?
And then the second time I went to Iraq, we was in Basra Airport or Basra Palace. Basra Palace, we just lived in the palace. But when you were at Basra Airport, you had it was in tents, but you had this concrete. The Royal Engineers, they didn't do it. They just told us how to build walls.
Yeah.
We had to build, like, we called them coffins.
Okay.
So it was like concrete, not breeze blocks, but concrete blocks.
Yeah.
You built them around your bed space, but interlocking and all this sort of stuff. And then you had like a Kevlar table that went on top of it. And then you had sandbags. We load about 50 sandbags per bed space. We've done it all. And then this engineer officer come in and went, "Oh, no, you've done it wrong." I mean, it's sandbags. Sure, it doesn't matter how you stack them.
Mate,
it does. So we have to do it all again.
Yeah. Fucking engineers are fucking arseholes like that.
Yeah.
I think I said. So it felt like doing sandbagging was like part of our phase 2 training as well, along with multiple things. But I remember being on patrol with the infantry, and I think we were only supposed to be out for a day, but something kicked off, and we ended up sleeping out the night in this compound, and obviously it wasn't planned. So they wanted to put out some little sort of not sangers, but little fucking observation points and that, and they wanted to build them out of sandbags. So me and Rocco they were like that. Engineer, you go and do this, and it's like, fuck's sake. Yeah. But yeah, there's a proper way to do it. Like,
It's demoralising. Filling sandbags is horrible.
Remember the Hesco the Hessian sacks that you filled them with? On my Carter, we had we got thrashed in that, put in the back of a DAF, and then had these Hessian sacks put over our heads. It was like, fucking hell, it brought you out in all sorts of creepy rashes. Horrible.
Stinks,
Wet dog.
So I got some more quick.
And obviously, just going back to that question, obviously after our interview with Chris O'Donnell from the US Marine Corps, where they had like sat-navs with patrol routes on in every fucking vehicle. Yeah, and we still had like your standard issue map.
I got one. I know you'll feel differently to how I felt. How did it feel when we left foreign colleagues, for instance, like interpreters? Like, I didn't give a fuck, but I know you was closer to your interpreters, weren't you?
I don't know. I wouldn't say I was that close that I was bothered. My only thing is that I know, having spoken to some of them, that the risk they put themselves and their families under by doing what they've done for British forces, it just annoys me that, like, to me, they should, when there was the evacuation of Afghanistan and all that, like, they should be priority on the list to coming back.
So I didn't really work with the interpreters too much in Afghanistan. When we did need them, we had a Gurkha with us.
Okay.
He was a medic, and they could speak similar language. They could get by us. We didn't need one, but when they did have an interpreter, they couldn't speak fucking English. Yeah. So it was just like, it was a pain in the arse to have them with you, really. When I was in Iraq, the first time I went to Iraq, we had the interpreters all the time. We worked closely with them, and we was really close. We lived with them. Yeah. But they didn't get the same treatment as the Afghans for some reason.
Oh, I don't know.
But
no, I'm not. It didn't bother me.
Would you have one living in your house?
No, it's not big enough, mate. And my name's not Gary Lineker. Or what's her name? Who's that singer that loves it? Always fighting the rights for the immigrants.
Joanna Lumley?
No.
She's a Gurkha,
She loves a Gurkha.
loads of singers. I wouldn't have one living in one. I wouldn't put one in my shed.
There's no room in your shed, is there?
How did it feel when you were told you're going to a war zone?
For me, I was excited.
Yeah, I was as well, to be fair. But my first tour, I volunteered. I kept bugging my boss to go on tour. So.
But that's the thing I think I shared before. I may have. Like my initial... Like, I was happy to join the Royal Engineers, do my Class 1 survey engineering course, which gave me my HND, and then get out and work as an engineer in Civvy Street. Like, and that was honestly my plan. But then the army does something to you where it's like, oh, I want to go to war. And I was loving it.
So my
I
plan
really
was
wanted
to
to
do
go.
22 years.
Yeah.
Before I joined the army...
Live on the patch,
No.
have loads of pad rats.
Single man on me. Like, my 17-year-old, 16-year-old when I joined the army.
Yeah.
Ray Mears was a big thing at the time.
All right.
I love watching Ray Mears when he go and live in the wild and make stuff out of twigs and berries, and everything was wonderful. And I thought, I'll do 22 years and I'll go and live in the woods. I'll have my pension, so I'll have a bit of money. And that was I'd be homeless. I wanted to be homeless. That's all I wanted to be in life, was homeless.
Ray Mears.
Yeah,
Hey,
you've got like Bear Grylls who
Yeah,
sucks eyeballs out of dead goats. And
Yeah.
and it's disgusting. Ray Mears makes a meal out of a dead eyeball.
Yeah.
And it's lovely.
And he doesn't go back to his hotel when the camera turns off.
Because he's got a lovely camp that he's made out of twigs
Yeah.
and berries. And yes, I wanted to be like him.
Do you remember? We've mentioned. Do you remember your annual tests and mats and whips and that? And you had to. You must have done it. Where you had to. A lot of it was like videos you had to watch, and there was a video on alcohol awareness sort of thing. And Bear Grylls was in the video
because no one remembers that.
Yeah. What?
Bear Grylls, it was in the SAS.
Yeah.
Done alcohol awareness videos.
Yeah.
Because I've always questioned whether he was in the SAS.
Well, he was TASS, wasn't he?
Because to do an alcohol awareness video after being in the SAS, I just think that's a bit of a weird thing.
Was it after? I thought it was before, because he was a young man.
Yeah, no, he was in the SAS in the 90s, I think.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, and then alcohol awareness ones were like probably early 90s, weren't they?
Yeah.
Do you remember the law of armed conflict? Law of armed conflict.
No, not off the top of my
It was
head.
like mid 90s, probably early 90s, and a lot of it's like more like Bosnia sort of era. And there's like a woman with a Walkman, and this squad, he nicks it off her. and it's like, you can't do that. And there's another one, he's crossing his bullets.
Yeah.
And the sergeant catches him, and he goes, I just want to get the bastard, Sarge.
What was it, like that Dog Soldiers again?
It was so crap, but you had to watch it every year.
Because I just remember, what was it? Sabotage, espionage, and all subterfuge and all these things and that. It's like, fucking hell, I'm a fucking sapper, who's going to come up to me? Although, to be fair, who was that lad that got done? The
Signals bloke, wasn't it?
Yeah, Signals, wasn't it?
Out as a chef.
No, he was underneath the laundry wagon, wasn't he?
Yeah, but dressed as a chef.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he got to the laundry wagon because they thought he was a chef, I think.
And then he went on the run, didn't he?
Didn't they think he was something to do with Iran?
Yeah. So that's he had like an Iranian handler and that.
Yeah.
And he was all proud of himself. Probably getting bummed now.
Yeah. There was another video when you went on Salisbury Plain. You had to watch it, and it's called. I don't know what it's called, but it was like "Don't Be Like Rick." Do you remember that? And it was a cartoon. And it was like this Trooper Rick or Private Rick, and he'd be cooking his dinner, and he'd set fire. And it's like, "Don't be like Rick."
Yeah.
And he'd leave the gate open, and all the sheep would get out, and "Don't be like Rick."
Yeah.
But I was trying to find them on YouTube, but I couldn't find any of these. But the Bear Grylls one, I was trying to find that because
I always tell people that.
Yeah, not many people know that, but it was definitely him, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember seeing it, and then all of a sudden he's on the telly, like eating eyeballs out of dead fish.
Where'd this twat come from?
Yeah,
Well, that was probably his inauguration into TV work, wasn't it?
probably. Yeah.
MOD drinking alcohol awareness videos.
Yeah.
Because I remember he was stood at like some proper 90s bar, wasn't he? And it was like, it was like what you said. It was like that, the camera would pan over and there's like loads of squaddies and like one's pissed up and it was like, do you think Steve's had enough beer? It's like, fucking, of course
Never.
he has. Yeah. Fucking, never.
Right, what's it like to receive mail?
What?
It's not
What, in general?
when you're on tour, I suppose.
I
I loved it.
mean, it was exciting. I do also Because did you? You must have had use of the sat phones and that when you were out there.
Yes, yeah.
So you could have your sat phone call, and you had a phone card, didn't you?
Yeah,
Where you could get minutes. You'd have minutes, whatever.
Like 10 minutes a week or something.
Yeah, something like that.
You could buy more.
And it was like, so mail for me was either full on hard on or fucking pure disappointment. Like when you didn't get it.
Yeah. And there was some people who got it every day.
Yeah. You think, how?
Yeah, my mate Susie was like that. His fucking family was in every day. He was getting parcels.
Yeah, food parcels.
Yeah, but no, I enjoy getting mail. I remember once I got a parcel and it's just addressed to a soldier.
Yeah. We got to be that rings a bell because there was a lot of like the Women's Institute and a lot of organisations, presume like in that period of time, 2009, where they'd just like send you like stuff like woolly hats or crisps.
I had the best thing ever. It was I know nowadays they're everywhere. You know, like a power bank.
Yeah.
It was like that, but you put 2 AA batteries in it and it charged your iPod.
Oh, right.
When you know the old iPod
Yeah.
charger, it was about inch wide.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an iPod charger that ran off army batteries.
Oh, nice.
And that was brilliant. Best thing I ever got.
Yeah, because we went through a period of time. So who was it? Woody, I think I was chatting to, and we were like, he was a Man City fan. So I spent like a week writing loads of letters to football clubs and all that. And some of, I think all of them sent stuff over. And at the time, Man City was the best. Man City sent a signed shirt for Woody. But like they all sent either like programs or, do you know what I mean? I think, there was a lot of that. Because it was in the news all the time, it was like there was always, even if you didn't get any mail, there was something. I'll share that with you. Like,
but we had in our accommodation area when we was in Bastion, because we didn't really stay there too much. We'd sort of come in for maintenance, resupply, and back out again after a day or two. But we had like a table with buckets, and it was just all stuff people didn't want.
Yeah.
Shower gels, all that sort of stuff. And it was just full of stuff.
Yeah.
So there was always plenty of stuff like that. But it was all that people had sent in.
Yeah, it was good.
But it's good like when you've got like a pack of super noodles or stuff like that.
Yeah, brilliant. But yeah, interestingly, I know because they're called blueies, aren't they?
Yeah.
So they it could have only been maybe last year. My mum, like, she pulled out this box of all the blueies people had sent me from Afghan. It was like, fucking hell. Yeah. And part of this box, so my mum and dad had been sent a letter from 39 Engineer Regiment's commanding officer after I got blown up, and it was like, first time I'd read it, I was like, that fucking cheers, mum.
Was it just a copied and pasted?
Yeah, like it's like the old death letters things, isn't it? That everyone's a good soldier, isn't they? He's a leader, he's this, and it's like, I've never met you in my life.
Funny enough, my mum's got a little box. My mum's not sentimental at all. She's like ruthless when it comes to keeping stuff. She just chucks everything. But she's got a little box, and it's got all my blueies that I sent her. And all that. So I have to get copies of them.
Yeah.
But I think she's got my CRs as well. Remember CRs?
Yeah.
They're called something else.
Confidential report.
Yeah, they're called. I forgot they're called now. My nephew told me about it the other day actually. But it was on paper when I did it, and she's still got a few of them. Last question: what's a field troop?
What, in the Royal Engineers?
I've heard other units say that.
Well, so in the Royal Engineers, you get field troop. So a field troop is your knockers. So a knocker is like your combat engineers. Then you get.
Why knocker? Is that because they knock on the door with an explosive?
Knock things with hammers.
Oh.
Do you remember the monkey that you put?
Yeah.
Monkey. So a field troop will be your combat engineering troops. Then you get like a plant troop, which is all your plant, like your JCB stuff. Then you get like you have a design cell, which is like your design draftsmen, like your designers.
Yeah.
And then obviously like QMs, which is your store people. So that's how it worked in the engineers.
Yeah. Right. Because Sam Stonestreet was telling me yesterday he was in an armoured.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He was an armoured engineer.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's a bit like
at the time.
That's what I was more associated with. You know, the bridge layers.
Yeah.
It was like Robot Wars. Some of the things they had, diggers and bulldozer blades and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So sorry. Yeah. So obviously my experience is as being in a field troop, but so armoured troop or I think even amphibious. Maybe you have an amphibious troop. But yeah, so a fieldy is your knocker sort of combat engineer. Yeah. Any other questions?
No, that is all questions.
I do like. Do you know what? So if you're listening to this and especially the likes of Af, Terry, any civilians that haven't served.
Yeah.
I'll send questions in. I think that's good. I like that because it stimulates my mind.
Yeah, it does. It gets people fit, and it reminds people. Like even things like something like medicine app. Just mentioning things. It gets people like thinking.
And particularly if you're a wife of a veteran, and you hear these stories, and you actually want the truth behind them, or what does certain things mean? Yeah. We'll help you out. And throw your husband under the bus.
Snitches get stitches.
Exactly, cunts.
Something else I'd like to know as well is if there's any Commonwealth soldiers listening. Just what's it? Why did you join?
Yeah.
What's life like afterwards? Did you go back home or did you stay in? Because I got my mate Chris Smart, and we called him Billy Smart, and he was from Trinidad, and I think he lives in Trinidad now. I think I'm friends on Facebook. I might even message him. And like I say, he lives in Trinidad now, but did being in the British forces help with his life over there? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting, isn't it?
I know, interestingly, so we haven't spoken about, so since the last time we recorded, we got interviewed by Soldier magazine, haven't we?
I think we mentioned that in the last one.
Well, that must have been before, because we got interviewed last Tuesday.
Yeah, but we've done an episode after that.
Oh, we ain't?
We have.
Have we?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, fucking cut that out. But yeah, I'll mention it again, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, so that'd be in the June
edition, yeah. Anything else?
No.
But yeah, send more stories, ask more questions. I like that idea. Yeah. And we also need to, I'll tell you, I know, because I've said to you, is it all right if you take over leading the podcast and that? Which means you can talk first in the opening if you want.
No, I might.
Okay.
I might mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. We need to do the day in the life of, don't we?
Yeah, well, a couple of topics I want coming up. So future ideas. We've got excuses for getting out of PT. Life in the block. What do units do on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah,
so life
in the life of.
And then just unusual traditions. So I think the next one we'll go for a life in the block because my mate Damo's already sent me a voice note.
All right.
Just prank. Not we've done pranks, but just just shit in the block. The stuff people used to.
Did you shit in the block?
Probably. In fact, I remember shitting that. So I think my mate Rab's room.
Yeah.
On a bit of paper. I put it, but I was only new, and I thought it was someone else. And he said, well, "That's Rab's room." Oh shit! So I had to go outside the right room. But just the things you got up to in the block, and just the weird stuff. Like when I was in Germany, for instance. Sorry, I ain't had time to think of anything, but in the summer we used to call these things July bugs.
Yeah.
So around about July, you used to get these beetles, flying beetles, and they was like the size of conkers, and you'd be having a barbecue outside, and as soon as it got dark, you'd hear them like going past you.
Yeah.
And then if you left the windows open in the toilets because the lights were all night, you go in the morning, there'd be dead bugs everywhere. But I can't find out what these bug things were, these beetles were.
Yeah.
But yeah, just any random shit, but from the block.
Yeah.
Like I say, Damo's got some funny stories about it's bullying basically, but it's not bullying, it's character building.
Okay.
People used to have these CS gas guns, just shooting them into your room.
Don't ruin it for everyone.
No, I'm saying just things like that.
Yeah.
And like the unusual things people had. People had weird pets and.
You did.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I had a snake.
I'm trying to think what we've done. I know this sounds. There was a lot of poker going on in our block. A lot of poker.
Oh, wow. Well, we had Cyclops Squadron.
Yeah.
They was known as Warhammer Squadron.
Okay.
Because they used to have Warhammer games.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh yeah. Fucking hell.
all the other squadrons are getting on the piss.
Yeah, wanking each other off.
Yeah, not so much Damo's time. It's the generation after him, where the Warhammer squadrons. We went in Battis and they were playing Warhammer out there. Took it all out there with them.
Oh yeah, that was it. So in the engineers, we had a game called Euchre, and I need to, because I remember it. It was a quality game because you had four of you, and you were in teams, so it was 2v2. Yeah. It was a quality. I need to look up the rules, and when we do the next episode, I'll speak about it.
No, we used to like just the legendary block parties, anything just in the block or around the block. But
Okay.
So that's the next episode. And are we going to go to 2 weekly?
Yeah. So after this one,
when
you're listening to this,
let me give some dates. So we've already recorded one, which should be out, but will be out on Friday the 16th.
Yeah.
Don't know why I'm telling you this.
You've already listened to it.
Yeah, so this one will be out on Friday the 23rd.
So hopefully, if you're listening to this, it is Friday the 23rd of May.
So the next one after that will be on the 6th of June.
Yeah.
D-Day.
Okay.
I'll have to do a special for that.
Yeah.
We have to reenact it.
Yep.
Over Fairlands Valley Park.
Yeah. Have we got a roll for Chisholm because there's nothing to guard?
He can be the German.
Okay.
He's Sanger. We'll get a rowing boat and we'll pretend it's a landing craft.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we'll in between there we'll try and get our Beyond the Wires. And if anyone wants to be on a Beyond the Wire,
Just ring in.
yeah, and
Message me or message Steve.
there's a lot of podcasts, you Phil Campion and all that, where people are, SAS paras and stuff like that. But we want the more fun stuff. So
If you served in the special forces, we don't want you.
yeah, unless you've done something funny, Phil Campion's.
If you served as I'll tell you what, I want to track down the RLC bloke that was responsible for burning shit in Fob Shawcat. I want to hear about that and what you told your kids when you went home.
That's a good one. Like just a normal sort of. But we want to turn it to a funny thing. That's the thing. We want it to be positive.
Yeah. What about stuff like after you left? I know I did mention it on the last recording, and we haven't done it, but we don't care because I don't know what I'm talking about.
If you've done something unusual or worth talking about after you left, let us know. If you become a woman.
What about the mental health side, though? Are we into talking about that at all?
No, people need to man the fuck up.
Okay, that's
Go down the pub.
your attitude. Let's go down the pub.
Yeah, but we're doing it. Yeah, we're doing an episode. If people want to talk about it, they're funny. I've had someone saying they want to talk about their experience.
That's where I got the idea.
And how their wife helped them and things like that.
Yeah.
Let's share the stories because and wives might be interested in it as well.
Well, you said that wives listen to this, didn't they?
Yeah, like when I was at wedding the other week, wives, sisters. So like my sister and my wife listen because it's me.
Claire from York.
Big
up Claire from York.
Yeah.
Do you know what my missus said? So apparently, she speak? She must have spoken to your sister or something. I don't know. But my missus listens to this podcast on like 1.5 times speed.
Yes, yeah.
And she said to me that so does your sister.
Yeah, my sister does as well. Yeah.
How the fuck do people do that?
Don't know.
Oh.
My sister showed me it. Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, God knows what we sound like.
Yeah. No, it don't really sound that much different.
Doesn't it?
No. But, whatever floats your boat.
Yeah.
I like to slow it down because I like it long.
Yeah, you do. So we're going to go into a bit of Muckers Remembered.
So I'd like to remember John Durrant. He was born in East London and was a child during the Second World War. He lied about his age and joined the 1st Royal Tank Regiment before he was 18. When he finished training, everyone was told where they're going to go to, where they'd be posted to, and Trooper Durrant wasn't called out. So when he asked, his training staff said, well, you're not 18, you lied about your age. So he had to spend extra time in training till he'd reached 18. Once he'd finished his training, he went to Germany and Hong Kong, and he served on Comet tanks. And he said the Comet was a fantastic tank and he really liked being on them. John was a good friend of mine, and I used to really enjoy having a beer with him, and he'd tell me all these cheeky stories, and he had a very youthful and cheeky personality. And John died on the 9th of May 2025, and I'll never forget him.
Thanks for that, Steve. It's that thing again, isn't it? Lying about your age.
Yeah.
How many kids would do that now?
Some would.
You reckon? Yeah.
They'd say they're 40, so they can't get in.
Yeah.
Now, I don't like to put all the kids down because I know a lot of them would. But the other week I went to watch Warfare.
Yeah.
I was sat in the foyer a bit waiting for me to film, and I was looking in Starbucks, and I think it was a male, blue hair and nail varnish on, and don't get me wrong, I think everyone should be what they want to be.
That was me, Steve.
But I did think to myself, like, do people in Russia look like that? Because when the Russians come banging on the door, what would you do? Like, it does worry me. If there was a big call up, what would these people do?
You see the social media videos where they recently where they were asking about when they were talking about national service and conscription coming back, and obviously it's sensationalism, so they get like the extreme versions of these diverse people and interview them, and like they're like, oh, I'm not going. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't fight for my country, and it's like, yeah, they wouldn't, would they? Like they wouldn't last.
And can you force people? I don't know.
Well, it'd be like they'd come around knocking on your door, and
what if you don't? What if you say I'm not doing it?
and then you go to prison.
But the prisons are full.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Well, yeah,
it's worrying.
yeah. No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
All right. So a Bravo Zulu shout out.
Yep, I've got Bravo Zulu. This is So I'd like to mention the Not Forgotten Association. We've mentioned them previously when Matt Goss from Bros.
You got it right.
Yeah. If you'd have got it
yeah.
wrong. Yeah,
I said we keep needing. We're allowed to play that tune.
Yeah.
Maybe I will do it one day.
maybe we could use their song as the going out music.
Well, don't you? I like the existing.
I
one.
do, but-
Yeah.
All right.
What as like a one-off?
Yeah, one off.
Yeah.
Like when EastEnders, when someone dies, they play the music differently.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll do it now.
All right, we'll do it now then.
Right. Sorry. Go on.
Anyway, so the Not Forgotten Association.
Yeah.
Like I say, we mentioned them before. It was a charity formed in 1920. I think I said it was formed after the Second World War before, but I did say I'll clarify that. So after the First World War, an American lady called Martha Cunningham, she visited a hospital and she was shocked
Yeah.
that a couple of years after the war, there was still so many wounded service personnel in the beds, and they was all depressed, lonely, sad, bored. And she set up the Not Forgotten Association. She devoted her life to it until she died.
Nice.
And the aim of the charity is combating loneliness and isolation in the United Kingdom Armed Forces community
Yeah.
by offering entertainment and activities to wounded, injured, or sick veterans and serving personnel.
Yeah.
They help 10,000 people a year. And that's by offering televisions, paying for TV licenses, giving online concert tickets, just general gifts and phone calls.
Yeah.
Every year they host a garden party at Buckingham Palace. They host concerts at care homes. They put on lunches and parties. And more recently, they've started adding respite breaks and challenging holidays to their services.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's just another decent charity. Been going
Yeah.
for a long time.
Well, they help young, old.
Anyone serving or veterans. So
Okay.
it's
Everyone will be phoning them up for a TV now, won't they?
I don't know how you approach them, to be fair. I don't know if it's the sort of thing you'd approach another charity like the likes of Safa.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can approach them directly or not.
What does it say on their website? We got a link for anything?
I'll find a link. Because I know a lot of charities, even the regimental associations, you can't just approach them.
Yeah.
You have to go to your Safa and things like that. Yeah, so it's a decent charity, and so we'll put the details in a link. At the end of the day, if you can't approach them directly, they'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But it's not an emergency service. It's just another nice charity
Yeah.
that helps with, like I say, loneliness is horrible. And
Have you ever been lonely, Steve?
I'm always lonely.
Yeah.
I like being lonely.
Do you know what the worst thing is? Is being lonely in a crowded room.
Yeah. I've had that. I've just sat there in especially busy pubs and stuff. Can't really get involved in conversations because I can't relate to it and I can't fucking hear nothing because I'm deaf.
Yeah.
But
And you end up like that in conversation, just like smiling and nodding.
or just sit at a bar and get even more pissed and yeah.
Yeah, good. We'll put some links in the show notes and that.
Yeah.
All right. We've winged this episode.
Yeah. It's been the least prepared we've been, but we've got something together.
Got something together. So what, the next recording is going to be on
Life in the Block.
Life in the Block. And what does that include? You got any expansion on that? So like Life in the Block,
Well-
like, and obviously you got like Training Regiment Life in the Block.
Yeah,
like,
obviously we've done your pranks and stuff like that. Obviously, the thing is, anything.
Well, even the boring and mundane.
Yeah, exactly. No, we don't forget. We might have done pranks. Every subject we've done. There's nothing stopping people who've only just started listening to it.
Yeah.
Just send your stuff
Fucking
in.
send anything in. Ask questions. What's it like to be in the back of a tank with a naked man?
Yeah, exactly.
What's it like to build a toilet out of fucking sheer hope and fucking Hesco?
But I'm trying to think of things like when I first got to Germany, you know, I've got put in a 2-man room, and it was quite nerve-wracking. Didn't have much money, and we made our furniture out of beer crates.
Yeah.
That's we had like a telly on beer crates. And your bedside cabinet was a beer crate. You know, just anything.
I have to say, when I've done my B1 combat engineering training over in Senelager, I think I mentioned I went up to Humour for the weekend, and it was just a different vibe in Germany.
Completely different army than the British, like the army in Britain. And we was BFG, British Forces Germany.
Yeah.
And before that, it was British Army of the Rhine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a completely different setup. There was a lot more money. You know, just things like I think every month we used to go and do a road run on the tanks. So the whole squadron would go for a drive.
Yeah.
Got back to England, we didn't do that no more. We done tank exercises in Land Rovers because there was no money for the track wear and stuff like that. So
that can. Right then, that's today's piss take patrol done, complete. Steve needs some after sun.
Well done to everyone that arranged or took part in a VE Day event. Let's keep remembering what it meant for so many back in 1945.
We've had laughs, jokes and shared some serious stuff as well. Keep sending your funny stuff to steve@themusterpoint.org.uk and your serious stuff to stu@themusterpoint.org.uk.
Voice notes, DMs, or stalk me and graffiti it on my front door. Find us on Facebook at The Muster Point Veterans, X at The Muster Point, TikTok at The Muster Point, and YouTube, The Muster Point Veterans.
Next time, we want to know about life in the block, from training regiment life in the block to squadron parties or block parties, poker, or leaving a turd outside your best mate's room.
Subscribe, rate the podcast, share it with your mate that lives under a basher in the woods because he's addicted to the smell of cam cream and loves shitting in cling film.
Until then, parade! Fall up!
Latest, troops!